And right now, we'll start with the Daily Trust newspaper as usual. There's a lot packed in front of the page, and today the major story says, 1 month after the federal government's intervention, households, small and medium enterprises still buy cooking gas above 1,100 naira per kg. The riders are saying families, businesses lament. Multinationals should pay attention to domestic supply, not exports, and crude oil stability key to gas production and sufficiency. That's according to experts. There is a breakdown of what is happening when it comes to the prices of gas. It says 12 kg price before and after the subsidy removal. Before, it was 9,500 naira. That was on May 2023. And December 2023, it rose to 12,000 naira. Where there is gas reserve in Nigeria, associated gas reserves, it's about 102.32 trillion. We have non-associated gas reserve, about 106.51 trillion. That's price per kilogram in Nigeria, 900 naira per 1,200 naira, and 12 kg it's 11,000 naira to 12,000 naira. Major factors that lead to the price hike is the subsidy removal and supply disruption. And also the breakdown when it comes to states, it says Lagos, the depot price is 1,100 naira per kg. In Kwara, Ilorin, the depot price is 1,050 naira per kg. Kano, Sharada depot is 960 naira per kg. That's about 1,920 naira for 2 kg. 5,760 naira for 6 kg, 11,520 naira for 12.5 kg. AA Renault carries about 926 naira per kg. Now, this is the details, and you'll find all the details of this on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. At the bottom there, you see EFCC widens probe on forex allocations, searches Dangote's office. You find that on page 23. Health issue behind my inability to honor EFCC's invitation. That's according to Sadia. Girl impregnated by brother dies during abortion in Kano. A horrible, horrible situation there. CAF raises 2023 Falcon winner prize money to $7 million. It's a huge amount. I mean, Nigerians are already eager to see how the Super Eagles would play in CAF in the next 8 days. The AFCON is going to start. We can't wait. Below the headlines there, we have subscribers kick as telcos seeks federal government's nod to increase tariffs. Tinubu appoints executive directors of NIPA and NIMASA. And we're still looking for the missing Trust Radio Tower, and Civil Defense fails to refund 6.5 million naira. Now, these are some of these stories that we have on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
And to the Guardian newspaper, the lead story there says EFCC probes NSIPA beneficiaries in alleged forex allocations abuse. That on page 6. We've got pictorials there of quite a number of individuals, including those who have been caught in the eye of the storm, as well as those who are responsible for the investigations. Besides that, we see my election nullified without basis. Plateau governor cries out to Supreme Court. Fubara's ally withdraws suit against 25 Rivers lawmakers. And on the belt, we see how dry season climate change exacerbates risk of virulent diseases. And under that, Naira battles fresh threat, falls below 1,200 Naira to the dollar at parallel market. A wake-up call to African leaders. That's the editorial on the Guardian newspaper. And the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria predicts challenging business year, urges federal government to prioritize manufacturing. That story is on the business page, page 20. Group blames Mossop for underdevelopment in Ogoni, page 29. Navy decries report on complicity in oil theft, also page 29. Beside that, we see a pictorial of the president. Create economic management team. NES tells Tinubu. That story is on page 7. These are some of the stories that's on the Guardian newspaper for today.
In the front of the Punch newspaper, from the top of the page there, it says fake degrees, 10,900 Nigerians in Benin, Togo varsities lament. Banks borrow over 19 trillion naira from CBN, that's according to report. Customs generates 3 trillion naira, 5 trillion naira in 2024. You find that story on page 21. The top story of the Punch says Forex scandal. EFCC comes the Dangote headquarters for documents and probes 51 firms. It says how EFCC ordered 52 firms to submit Forex allocation forms from 2014 to 2023. You find that on page 2. And there's a pictorial of traders' protest asks Lagos government to approve market. Foreign investments in manufacturing sector drop by 54% according to NBS. Plateau attack, survivors battle hunger in IDP camp. The federal government releases 108 billion naira for road repairs. Now, these are some of the stories on the Punch newspaper this morning.
And we go to The Nation. Atop the page, we see Federal Medical Center plans price crash for IVF births. Also, we see NUC lists 58 universities awarding illegal degrees. That story is on page 6, of course, as a controversy around the institutions that were deaccredited by the Nigerian Universities Commission earlier on Wednesday. Also, Tinubu appoints 6 EDs for NPA, Nimasa. A head drops lawsuit against Rivers House members. And of course, below the masthead, we see uphold my mandate, Plateau governor urges Supreme Court. Appeal court judgment unfair. Apex court hearing for Tuesday. Also, CBN acts dangles on COVID-19 loan defaulters. And for the lead story on The Nation, it says 37 billion naira probe. Ex-minister gets EFCC 72-hour ultimatum. Anti-graft agency reject 3 weeks extension request by Sadia Umar Farouk. And on the belt, we see police begin recruitment screening on Monday. Customs to meet 5.1 trillion naira revenue target. Well, these are some of the stories on the front page of The Nation newspaper.
Let's take a look at the Business Day front page this morning. It says, lessons for Nigeria as India boosts the FDI 13-fold in 22 years. That's the major story on the newspaper. Beside that, we have 4 Supreme Court's election judgments to watch in 2024. Let's not forget what is happening in Kano. So if you want the details of what we should keep our eyes on when it comes to litigations in 2024, then you can check the Business Day. There is rice, pasta sales drop to 5-year low on rising prices. You find that on page 2. EFCC probes 52 firms over FX transactions with CBN. How student loan will make or mar education in 2024. You'll find that also on page 2 of the newspaper. And above the page there, we have A Tribe Called Judah becomes the first Nollywood film to gross 1 billion naira. That is a huge one. There's a pictorial of the producer and actor, executive producer Funke Akindele, and another actor that featured in that movie, Juliana Olayode, to your baby, in that amazing movie. That is a great win for the Nigerian film industry. Now, these are some of the stories that we have that is on the Business Day newspaper. And right now, we are joined by Malam Nuruddin Abdallah, the editor of 21st Century, to discuss the front pages of the National Dailies this morning. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Malam Nuruddin.
Good morning, Raji.
Yes.
A lot is happening. This is the first time we're meeting Malam Nuruddin in 2024, so Happy New Year.
Same to you.
It most indeed Happy New Year.
You did.
We'll get our New Year baggages
Exactly.
and goodies from
He
him
definitely
much
has
later.
it for us. I mean, I could smell it on
Yes,
him immediately.
yes,
he entered.
My palliative as well.
Our palliatives as well, of course.
Well, anyway, there seems to be a lot happening, today, Friday, in the nation's capital. But one of the things that the Daily Trust caught is the breakdown of, how Nigerians are consuming and complaining about the gas price in Nigeria. And this is something that was predicted at the earliest of 2023, that it was going to get to this point. And now it's getting there, and it's even looking like it's going to, go beyond this. What is your take in all of this horror?
So, you see, the reality is this. There are the economic reforms embarked upon by President Tinubu in the last couple of maybe 6 or 7 months, have impacted tremendously on most of these issues. If I recall very well, the gas issue has to do with the forex. One of the earliest things he did was the unification of the forex exchange market. You understand? Which really impacted on the issue of cooking gas, as well as even the diesel, for instance. It jumped from about 700 to 1,000 plus per liter. And it has been there, hovering around that area. So the intervention actually, unfortunately, at times, government at all levels, the interventions are not thorough. In most cases, they are just cosmetic, or even sometimes political, Let the public see us to be doing something.
Even though
so that
unnecessarily
exactly, even though, talk about the inflation, particularly of food items. During the last regime, there was a very massive, elaborate committee chaired by the then Vice President Osibanjo. They were inaugurated, they granted interviews and whatever. And that was the first and the end of it. Nobody heard anything about it. They didn't even submit any report. Not to talk of, that is what governments at all levels are doing. Most of if you ask the manufacturing sector, they'll tell you, okay, this is how we should go about it. But the unification of the forex, people no longer get forex at official rate, even though it was grossly abused, as we have seen yesterday. If you look at the MPLA files, you see how family members, cronies, people in government, that was abused. So it tremendously affected this thing. Maybe what the government should do is this. There are other things that should be done to cushion these effects. You understand? If we remove a fuel subsidy, for instance, but what are we going to do it? The palliative issue. The hanging a bag of rice, the family of 5, how long will it take them? We need long-lasting measures that will cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal. So it's the same thing with this.
But are we not back to the same spot? Malam Nuruddin, I mean, considering we saw how they say we're going to save up 1 trillion naira, from subsidy, but then there's still talk that the federal government is still paying partial fuel subsidy. We saw how when it came to the Yuletide season, the president also removed, paid some subsidy when it came to the fare. Transport fare and also the train station. And then now we're also asking for subsidy to at least, or a kind of way to cushion the effect when it comes to also gas. Are we not going back to the same thing that we try to move away from?
The current administration, or President Tinubu in particular, he found himself between the devil and the deep blue sea. Subsidy was grossly maladministered. It was shortly of saying it was a scam. Why? Because it was only the NPC. Sometimes they remit 0 naira to the FAC. Yeah. They buy, they sell, and they tender whatever they want. Without transparency, it was ambiguous. But now it was removed. And don't forget, the president is a politician. these people that are benefiting from this scam will not just fold their arms and watch. No, they will fight back through all means. And that is why, the moment subsidy was removed, he was accused of removing subsidy during his inauguration. But if he didn't do it at that time, even though by the end of that month, the budget meant for the subsidy will lapse, what will he do? So he took the hardest option by doing it at the beginning. If Buhari had done it earlier, when he was popular, we would have moved ahead. But look at it now.
So, but Nuruddin, however, he removed the subsidy, or at least announced the removal of the subsidy a month before the due date. Yeah. The question some would ask is, what happened to the money that was meant for the payment for that month? There's still some 1 trillion naira that is hanging on answered in the balance now. Was the money paid? Was the money saved? Well, I don't know the answer to that question. However, let's digress a little bit away from there. We saw the response of the former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Hajia Sadiya Umar Farouk, to the EFCC. Unfortunately, she was not able to make the appearance due to health circumstances, and she has asked for a 3 weeks or 3 weeks extension for her to be able to make it. Hopefully, she feels better by then. However, the EFCC has said no, and you have just 3 days. What are you surprised at the fact that this is coming on the heels of, or at least at the end of the Buhari administration, expectedly when we were supposed to see probably us talking about how triumphant the fight against corruption was during his administration and how much he put, into ensuring that it was fought to a standstill?
But the Buhari's anti-corruption fight was a scam.
Would you say, that's the argument now. Should we say it was a scam, or should we say the former president fought corruption and corruption fought back?
No, it was a huge scam. Every administration has its own design. We do apology to the former minister.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Jonathan has a design. Yeah. Buhari has a design. In fact, Buhari's design
has several designs.
Because what the MFLA did, you look at the design as an angel. You with the revelation,
so far.
So far, you understand. More heads will roll. But apart from the mantra, fighting corruption, this was a president who will appoint head of an agency, a minister. Whatever you do, you will not look. And you say that fighting corruption. So it was a reuse. It was one thing that he used, to propel himself into power, and he succeeded, and he scammed Nigerians. And now it is, even at that time, we say, okay, we didn't know that Dizani was a bad woman until Jonathan lost election. Yeah. So now Buhari is no longer in power. This same woman that is now, and the funniest part of it, the former humanitarian minister is using the same cliched excuse that she's sick.
That Dizani is.
Dizani was sick too. Maybe, who knows, that, Dizani, one Nigerian celebrity, when she was declared wanted and she said that she was sick, she appeared in one very terrible photo. Who knows? Maybe Sadiya is equally, acting that script. Maybe we'll see her picture, maybe going on chemotherapy or like the former.
But should Nigeria expect anything better from, EFCC probing Sadiya, considering, there was, let's start from the top. It's now looking like a lot of people are above the law. We know that when it comes to the removal of subsidies, there are people who were behind it, but no names was mentioned ever. We don't know who are those people to even follow them, to go to them and probe them on what have been happening, because things like this, a major corruption like this, cannot go just like that. Just
but then again, in addition to all of this, do you think that it has now come to a point where Nigerians are aware and are now immune to all of the excuses that this former federal government dignitaries usually give. It usually starts with, with apologies to the former minister. I do hope that she
gets
fully
well
recovers.
quickly. Yes.
But then again, I'm not feeling fine. I'm bedridden. I'm in the hospital. I have cancer. All these attempts to garner public sympathy. Are you saying that Nigerians are now immune to all of them and can now smell the coffee?
They do. We know it's an insult to our psyche. You only get sick when you are asked to account for your
misdeeds. Alleged misdeeds.
No, you are tenor, you know. Just come and talk account. Ajia, you spend this.
Not even been...
You know, she fed Nigerian students during when the country was locked down.
Yeah.
Homes were even locked, not to talk of schools. But she spent billions
feeding them,
feeding Nigerian peoples. So, you know, the EFCC has the right. Nigerians now, particularly she's out of power, we want to know the magic the Zamfara lady did, even though without recourse to how she shared the debt we got from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia donated some trucks of tons of Debino in outside, right? And I bought the same Debino in some shops in Al-Kali Road in Kaduna. Not for sale, but
but it was sold to you.
It was sold to me.
It could be a design, the not for sale.
you understand? So it's an opportunity to clear her name.
So she should take advantage of it.
Yes,
but she's not feeling well.
And people tend to get away with it. I mean, for everybody to now use that line, I'm not feeling fine. It seems, you know, it's the most easiest way to go out.
And the EFCC should do the needful, please, if they are serious. If you invite one Mr. Sagil or one Hajia, and Hajia is saying that she's in Dubai and changing her tune and what have you, she should be arrested. And again, you know, they say who comes to equity must come with clean hands.
Indeed.
You know, that contradiction in the present administration. We're talking about the scam in the oil sector, in particular, the NNPC. But the man whose tenure superintended that supposed scam has been appointed.
But then again,
you understand the contradiction.
He served as GMD.
Yes.
But then the then president served as minister of the NNPC. So if we should call for a probe, are you, in other words, saying the former president should himself be probed?
Why not? Is Nigeria any different? In advanced democracies that we emulate, the same countries that they go and treat ear infection, leg infection, their former president has been sent to jail. Look at what Trump is facing. Are they more... So that is the contradiction.
You see, I'm asking all of this because of how much passion the lot of Nigerians who gave support in terms of cash, what have you, and even votes to ensure the emergence of President Buhari in 2015. You've spoken very passionately about how his administration did not deliver on the said mandate that was given to him. But however, a lot of people would say he left with his dignity intact as Megaskia. But then again, we are seeing his administration now, you know, after it has come and gone, facing all sort of turbulence. Some would even say even more turbulence than his predecessor. That's Goodluck Jonathan. So is this an indictment on the expectations and the disappointment that Nigerians have on him?
Of course, you can't even compare him with Jonathan. Look at their ratings internationally and even locally. Yes, Jonathan had a designing. We can forgive Jonathan because, you know, when he became president, you can say he's politically naive. He's from a remote tribe. He wasn't a military man, and so on and so forth. Boko Haram, which was the on whose back Buhari rose to power because of the perennial insecurity. Well, this is a general. I remember the campaign. when the U.S. the same Tinubu I remember in Abeokuta when the U.S. was involved, a general came to rescue out. So now we have General Buhari. But what we realized was totally different. He doesn't listen. He doesn't assemble the right guys. If he gives you a mandate, he will allow you to do whatever. He will just say, Allah Isa. Let me cite an instance. You know, sometimes Nigeria, the man has reduced Nigeria to Banana Republic during his tenure. There was House of Reps member, Gudaji Kazori. When Gudaji Kazori was granting interview, we thought that he was a clown. Until when, is it Osaze? Obazi, the special investigator. They were like, okay, we are the clowns actually. And you remember at that time, Gudaji Kazore was saying that even the president was indecisive. He doesn't even know what to do. He made some allegations that the then government officials could not be refuted. And look at it now. So what we are saying here is this. Many Nigerians believe that Buhari wasted our ethics.
But now it seems like Dangote has been mentioned in all of this because the lead story on the Punch, Forex scandal, EFCC combs Dangote headquarters for documents, probes 51 firms. So more and more of the Obaze report and investigation is coming to light.
And of
more
course, there is also a report saying that now the Dangote is under probe. You know, EFCC has gone into the facilities of the Dangote to start probing. Do you think that would yield more accountability and transparency?
We should, yeah. You know that I remember I was discussing with someone saying that it will, this will send wrong signals to investors. I said no, but even the U.S. multinationals have been probed. Nigerian University, the Enron probe, you remember?
Yeah, I do.
Even yesterday, if you look at the news, the Rifle Association CEO, it's a quoted company. And when you do your transaction with government institutions, well, found to be contravene certain laws, you should be held to account. And particularly when you are at that pedestal, you should be more careful. I remember how MFLA was dishing out Forex. Some were even saying that the IMF and World Bank saying that Buhari's MFLA operated about 5 to 6 or even 7 Forex regimes. 220 for Haji Asamaya, 150 for Master Sagir,
maybe 70.
400. No, you remember?
Had to come back.
So that's how the man was doing and again, who knows? You know, there's still money with the big guys.
There's still money with the big guys.
Not poor people like us.
We'll have this conversation about the Forex regime and how much Malanura knows subsequently. But unfortunately, this is where we have to pull the plug on the program. We've come to the end of Daybreak at this time. We hope you enjoyed the program. And of course, Malanura, thank you so much for always availing yourself. We'll have the conversation about the Forex conversation after this, of course. With that, we wrap up the program. Viewers, we thank you so much for joining Daybreak this morning, and we do hope you had an exciting moment with us. With that, I say thank you so much for watching. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Have a lovely weekend.
And I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thank you so much for staying with us. Please do stick around. At the top of the hour, Emmanuel Fashemi would bring you 360 Sport. Do have a lovely weekend.